I'm so excited. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is going to be a really cool episode. I'm excited about it. I know our community is, because you've been someone we've been able to kind of promote a little bit.
Yeah.
You've been crushing it, and it's been just so much fun to see your success and your hard work pay off, and all the things you're doing.
No, it's awesome. It was really cool. Like all throughout the time that we started speaking, we've actually been having AIM family coming over to my page to show me some love, and it's touched a little bit. It's awesome.
That's super cool. Kind of give everyone listening a little backstory of how we got connected. It was through one of our AIM Alpha fan members, Sarah Lown. She's awesome. She's killing it. And, you and her go way back. So you can even tell us a little bit about y'all's background before we even jump into what you do.
So Sarah and I have known each other since we were literally in the stroller. We have photos from like golf camp, all that. We grew up in the same small town. I can send you some blackmail photos, honestly. It'll be a good time. But yeah, so I'm originally from Florida, grew up there, was super into dance all my life. I danced competitively, nationals, the whole nine. That was literally my identity. But in high school, I actually found weightlifting, and actually Sarah and I did our first weightlifting class together, and that was another bonding moment for us, like learning how to re-rack, the movements, maxing, and her and I, if you know Sarah, we're competitive.
For sure.
So that was a good class, I'll just say.
No.
But after high school, I graduated. I moved to New York City by myself. I attended the Fashion Institute of Technology, also was a college dancer there, was pursuing my dreams going forward. I wanted to be a Radio City Rocket for quite some time. But while I was here, I noticed that I actually kind of got down to like a low state of my life. And that's when I actually turned back to weightlifting, and I actually got into bodybuilding. So pretty much one day I woke up, I was like, I don't like how I look. I don't like how I feel. I signed up for a show, and I was like, no matter what, on this day, I'm stepping on stage, tanned and glazed, no matter if I like it or not. So I'm going to make sure I look good. And that's how I got into it.
Wow. No, I love that. That's super cool. It's cool to see how you obviously, you are where you are now, but you've had so many different things you've got involved with along the way that's kind of led to this moment.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's super cool. And we can kind of jump into more of that. If you don't mind me, what got you to New York City? Because that's a big jump, for anybody really, but that's a huge city. And I know there's people always talk about the dreams and opportunities in that type of city. What got you to New York City?
So I was actually someone who I never thought that I would live here. I always thought that I would be kind of like a Georgia girl, more of a Southern, just taking it easy in the suburbs kind of person. Obviously that's not how life works out. Life changes every single second of your day. And I was just chilling out one day, I think it was like right before a holiday, and my dance coach sends me an audition for the Rockettes. They have this like crazy summer intensive. And when they say intensive, they mean intensive. Like it is 8-hour days in heels, dance, full out all the time. I've never sweat more in my life than those days. So she just sends me this, and she's like, hey, you should audition. And I'm like, I appreciate it, but I haven't tapped in 5 years. I don't know if my lanky, like awkward arms can do this, because I thought I was going to be a ballerina. So I was like, all right, let's go for it. I showed up at the audition, had a migraine and everything, was not set up for success. But somehow, by the grace of God, I got the audition, which was insane to me, because only 30% of people who audition actually get into the intensive, and it's a global audition.
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh. Got in, I saw New York, and I was like, okay, I absolutely love this. So I was like, all right, what do I want to do in New York? And I always knew that I wanted, ever since I was younger, I come from like a small business family. I would literally look at my father and be like, I want to have a business one day, but I want to be better than yours. Because I was very confident, apparently, when I was young.
I love that.
And I was like, I absolutely love cosmetics. I love fashion industry, how innovative it is, and how much of a powerhouse. People don't understand how much the fashion industry actually drives our economy. And I was like, you know what? I want to do business in this. Got into FIT, which was an absolute dream for me, and the rest is history.
That's incredible. Was fashion your main thing? That's what, like, when you were younger, that's what you wanted to do, and dance, and everything else you did was kind of on the side?
I would definitely say dance was the main thing for me. I almost skipped my senior prom because I had a dance competition. My family had to yell at me to be like, it can wait. You can literally compete the next day. I was like, no, I want to grab my trophy physically. Like,
Wow.
so it's definitely dance all the way. But I would say it was dance first, and then business was like just below it. Once I got to New York, it completely flipped. It was business 100%. My school had so many opportunities for me. Literally within my first 3 weeks of moving here, next thing you know, it was New York Fashion Week. Had like a respiratory infection. I walked down. New York Fashion Week was literally like casted in. I'm like, what is going on? It was like literally the New York dream. So that definitely switched when I was up here. Didn't expect that, but I'm really happy it did, because let's just say business, you can do it a lot more, a lot longer than you can with dance. But I was able to find like a happy balance between both of them.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel like our stories are pretty similar with that with basketball. You know, I grew up playing basketball, played in college here at Western, and now I got involved with business, and I've always been involved with business, but like I've created something bigger with my friends, and now it's like, you know, there's a lot we can do with it, and it's just kind of the
Mhm.
point in life where you feel that shift, and it's exciting. So
Yeah, it's not like you're ever gonna completely let go of basketball too. It's still gonna be a part of your life, but it's much more sustainable going forward.
no doubt, no doubt. And so you spent your time in New York, and then talk to us more about kind of that transition period from, you know, your school and your dance stuff into this new kind of current stage phase where you are now, where you're crushing it. You're absolutely crushing it with the bodybuilding and all the competitions you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've such a crazy like rookie year with the bodybuilding. But yeah, like I was saying, I had one of those aha moments in college, and I was just like, I don't like the way I look. I dropped a lot of weight. I'm someone, when I'm stressed and focused on a lot of work, especially getting into like that New York high, as they call it, when you're just going nonstop. I literally stopped eating. I was probably consuming between 600 to 800 calories a day, pulling 16, 17, 18-hour days constantly every single day, still on a dance team, like literally running myself to just bones. I just remember I looked at myself one day, I was like, I feel horrible. I look like sticks walking around. Like, I was not happy whatsoever. So that's when I had like that pivotal moment where I was like, okay, like I need to start doing something. I remembered weightlifting. I knew what I needed to do. I was blessed with some incredible dance coaches back in Florida where, you know, they taught us like, you need to eat, you need to function. Like, we want strong dancers, not just something that looks nice over here.
Right.
Um, so I was like, okay, and like, you know what to do. If you don't know, figure it out. Like, you don't have any excuses anymore. Like, do this for yourself. So I just, again, like I signed up and I went for it. My very first show that I ever did, I don't even consider it anymore. That was in 2019. I was proud of myself because I reverse dieted, which I encourage so many people who are having that really mental struggle with food to consider what if they do need to bring up their maintenance calories. It's the reverse diet, which is slowly adding in calories to your body, because your maintenance, your body, it adapts to wherever it needs to be in order to survive. Your maintenance calories can be so low, like mine were 600 to 800 calories. Like, I felt full afterwards, but I was running on E. So I slowly built my way back up to that show, which, believe it or not, you're supposed to like get shredded for a bodybuilding show, not bulk up for it like I did. um, so I spent 2019 bulking up, kept on going into 2020, still like just building that muscle, getting back into weightlifting, working on my form, which, oh my gosh, has come quite a far away. And then from there, once COVID hit, I did gain that like quarantine fluff, as I'm calling it for some people. So I had that on and I was like, shoot, I don't like the way I look anymore again. And I was like, all right, we're doing another show. Signed up again. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. And that's when I started competing in the NPC.
That's amazing. So you kind of touched on it, but I want to hear more, maybe a little more in depth. So when you're planning out like your schedule for these competitions, these shows, what is there something is there some strategy to it, or is it more of you just saying, look, I'm gonna pick this date, I'm gonna go compete, and I'm gonna train as hard as I can and get ready for it?
So yes and no. Definitely when you're first starting out, usually tends to be like, okay, I picked a date, let's go for it. That's what the grand majority of people do. That's what I did. What I suggest and what I do now going forward is it is strategy, it is time. And the biggest thing that I learned as well is letting your body pick the show. Don't let like your mind pick the show and force and drive your body down. It's not going to be worth it. So going forward, like for example, for this season, I'm letting my body pick. When I was reversing out of my last season, I was like, you know what? I need to grow my shoulders. I need to grow my glutes a little bit. I need to grow a little bit of my back as well. So what I did is I'm like, okay, we're going to be in growing season for a while until I'm happy with where I am with my growing season. That's when I'll start my cut. And then your cuts, I mean, they're usually between what they should be is like a 14, 18-week time period. And that's just to make sure that you get down with a nice steady decline, and it's not going to be anything too sharp, because the last thing we want to do is completely shock your metabolism and destroy it. That's not the point of this whatsoever. If anything, your metabolism should actually get better after doing these shows, because you're so good at maintaining a new maintenance calories for yourself. So definitely now it's a lot of strategy. Going forward, I'm probably will compete at the very end of this year. I have some shows like in mind, but I know no matter what, I need to do a 16-week cut, and that's the time that I need in order to get to where I need to be for a stage, like stage lane.
Wow, that's super cool. I find that's fascinating. Like I was talking to Gabe Bollinger, who we had on a couple weeks ago, and he's he's in bodybuilding as well, and he was explaining to me like he just did his first competition and crushed it, won two different awards, and but then he was like, man, I'm gonna take like 2 or 3 years and not be on stage. I'm like, what do you mean 2 or 3 years? That's but like you said, it really is a process driven endeavor, and like you really just have to day by day just grind on it, and it's got to be, you just have to believe and buy into the process.
Exactly. One of the coaches that I personally follow, and I completely self-coached myself. I taught myself, did my certifications, all that, like that I guided myself through. But I did have this amazing person. His name is Paul Ravella. I suggest everyone follow him. He like kind of took me under his wing as needed. And one of his quotes is, they call it bodybuilding for a reason. If you're not building the muscle and literally building out the body that you want or what you need in order to win these competitions, you're not doing it right.
No doubt. And that actually brings in something I really wanted to touch on and talk with you about, because I think you could shine a lot of light and value. It's just like this idea of like, with social media, with the abundance of being able to post and promote yourself and your successes. Like I want to talk about like that process of getting to that point, because everyone sees like that final product, you're up on stage with your medals and, looking great, and everyone that does it. But like, I think too many people, they don't realize or understand or even just fathom like all the work that's put in, the discipline, the sacrifice, the diet, the training. Like, let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that's something that more and more people need to hear more about.
Definitely. It is a mindset. It is a 24/7. It's not just diet. It's not just the exercises. It's every single day you're getting up. So during that time, I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning, in the gym at 5:15, depending on what time I got there. I was in there doing my cardio not every single day. I was doing it 5 to 6 days a week, because rest, I'll get back to this point, but rest is just as important as the exercise. I will completely vouch for that for the rest of my life.
For sure.
But yeah, every single day it is, you wake up, you get your stuff done, you get your macros, and it is so vitally important to stay consistent, hitting those macros every single day. Keeping your food as consistent as possible makes it even better for your body. And then like with the exercises, they always say like, oh, while you're in prep, like you lose strength. You feel like that, but you shouldn't. So it's also like, as you're slowly like lowering your gas tank in terms of like calories that you're intaking, you're still having to go 150% in the gym, if not even harder. So for example, I am not a runner. I've never been a runner. I can sprint a little bit, but that's the farthest I'll ever go. I was out there and I was running because I knew between my second show and my fourth show that I needed to lose a good amount of body fat. And I was like, okay, in order for me to look the way I want to and have like my glute tie in and everything popping on stage, I need to lose a little bit more. And right now, steady state isn't just cutting it for me. I got to throw in some intervals in there. So it's definitely the mindset that you have while you're doing this. It is pretty intense because you're like, end of day, again, like I was saying, you're going to be on stage glazed up. For me in a sparkly bikini, like I know I want to look good.
Right.
And that's my motivation. And every single second of the day, you're thinking about like planning out your meals, making sure you get your water in. And it's a constant 24/7 investment. And that's what makes this sport so interesting. That's when everyone gets there. It's such a cool vibe because everyone's like, we did that. Like we survived X amount of weeks of just constant hard work. And it's incredible.
No doubt. And I bet that you bring up a cool point. I bet it is cool. Like, obviously there's, I'm sure, a lot of competitive drive, like when you get to these competitions, but like the people you're around, like, I'm sure you respect, like, what they've been through because you've done the same thing. And it's probably a cool synergy there where you're like, wow, like we've really done this. This is cool.
It's incredible because the amount of support that you have. At first, usually people are kind of scared backstage talk. And it just takes that one person to break the ice, and everyone will just start talking about, oh, how is your prep? How's this? How are you feeling right now? Where are your carbs at? And it'll just like take off the seal, and everyone starts talking about their mental struggles, what they went through. I was competing with this one girl, and she literally was diagnosed with cancer again and was battling all of that throughout her prep. And I'm just like, I'm so mad at myself for ever complaining about having to get up and do cardio because this girl was doing it after treatment. Like, it is such an incredible community, but it's also such a small community as well. And just having that backstage is such an incredible feeling.
No question. Would you say that you learn, like, are y'all pretty open about how you communicate and share information of like tips and tricks and like stuff like that too?
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who will start talking about like what their coaches advise for diet. I know a big topic right now, which I can voice my opinion on it, about like water intake, how much water you should be drinking. Should you be cutting it out or should you be increasing it coming up to show day? So that's always a topic of conversation backstage. Your body needs water. You're made majority of water. Your muscles, in order for them to look plump on stage. Yep. You need water.
Water plug.
So that's my opinion, but that's always like a big topic backstage, and also people just talking about like, what kind of foods were they having? How did they make it taste good? Everyone freaks out about the low calorie sauces. So definitely people share like their little tips and tricks backstage.
No doubt. Do you like to cook? Or do you enjoy that? Or you just kind of go strictly just the diet just to get it in?
I definitely like to have fun with my meals. I feel like my Instagram kind of turns into like a little cooking channel while I'm on prep. So everyone will, no one asked for it. Absolutely zero people asked for it. I'm just putting out the content. But you guys will constantly see my little oatmeal pancakes that I make. My potatoes, I make like a different like home fry every morning. My breakfast sandwiches. So good.
That sounds good. What's your go-to pre-workout snack?
Ooh. So when I'm not on prep, as of right now, and like I'm going to like train with a friend, and I'm very excited to go train, I'll have like a Rice Krispie treat just because it's nice and light, sweet, easy, quick sugar into my body, and I'm like, okay, let's go. When it comes to just like normal everyday, or when I was in prep, it was usually English muffin with a little bit of peanut butter. I have it about like 45 minutes before because it takes a little bit longer to digest, but I find that my body absolutely loves that. And also if you're getting like peanut butter, almond butter, do a little bit of salt on top of it too. It's just gonna help get everything pumping.
We will we'll clip this and we'll put this on like a food Friday or something, or maybe recreate it and shout it out. So I think that's
I'll be all over the place. It'll be great.
Yeah, I love it. But cool. So next thing I kind of wanted to talk about, and we touched on it, but like we talked about the mindset. Like obviously it's a big mental game, like getting to that point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this show, I'm gonna put in this time. But what have you learned either from the mindset or from just the process overall that you can apply to other areas of your life?
Discipline.
Yeah.
Growing up dancing, I was always already very disciplined. I need to do X, Y, and Z, do my stretches. If I have practice, I'm going to make sure I'm there on time, hair pulled back, all of that. But this is a different type of discipline because it wasn't like a light switch you can turn on and off. It was very much, I would say it's more comparable to having like a checklist every single day of, I have all these tasks I need to accomplish no matter what before I close my eyes tonight. What am I going to do to make sure I accomplish that? And that's how I'm going to base my day. In that discipline of having control of like, you know what, I need to do all of these. Either it's going to be up to me to cram it in all last minute at nighttime, trying to shove 120 grams of protein at one time down my throat, or I can be smart about this and take it bits by bits throughout the day. So I definitely think like discipline throughout this prep really helped me with every single aspect, especially like when it came to finishing up school, applying it to work. It's incredible learning experience that I feel like every bodybuilder goes through. But also I would say it's learning how to lose in a way. Again, I said I'm extremely competitive. I had a very good season for a first timer. I won first at summer shredding. I won an overall title, nationally qualified twice, but when it came to amateur Olympia, I placed second at the very, very last movement. They moved me out to second. And let me tell you, I think about that all the time when I'm in the gym, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 2 more sets because I'm not going to get second again. But it's also, I feel like if I didn't have that learning experience and didn't learn to lose that way, that I would have not been in that mindset. I would have been like, all right, this is good enough here. So this sport is definitely humbling in that source, but also throughout the different examples of it humbling you, you're going to get this new drive and discipline out of it that's worth so much more.
That's good. And like, let's be honest, like that's how life is. Like everyone thinks it's a linear uphill, like you're going to the top. Like there's so many roadblocks, you know, like you said, even second place is still really good, but as a competitor, you're like, I can't have that. Like I want to win.
Exactly.
And that's cool how you can use those things to, you know, perspectively, you know, drive you moving forward and like, you know, make it an advantage and a positive thing.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing with the sport is you have to keep in mind there's competitions almost every single weekend. And, you know, you might have gotten second here. You probably would have gotten first over there. And that's another thing that drives in your mind. But at the same time, for every time that you might have gotten first somewhere else, you could have gotten third at another place. So like, what are you going to do to make sure that you're consistent no matter where you are that day or where you are in the country?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. What does your training look like right now? So you said, you know, you're probably not doing another show for till the end of the year potentially, but right now you're just kind of in the growth phase.
Yeah, so I am in the growth phase, definitely working with a bit of hypertrophy training, which is just mixing up the reps, making sure that they're not the same exact thing all the time, and making sure the reps that you're doing is enough for you to actually grow muscle within that area. So I'm someone who I don't train a push-pull leg split. I like to train a body part or 2 at a time, and I go in on those parts throughout. So right now, like I'm doing like an upper body, I'll have a chest day, back day. I break up my legs from my front leg and my back leg and glutes. And then I keep on cycling going forward with that.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And then what about like from a dietary standpoint? Are you just kind of, is it a surplus right now or?
Yeah, so I am at a surplus. I am definitely I'm eating good, I'll say. So I'm at quite a surplus from where I was during competition prep. During competition prep, the absolute lowest that I ever got was around 1,200 calories, which that's pretty impressive. Some people, they dip under that 1,000 calorie point. So lowest I got was around 1,200 calories. Now I'm consuming, I think it's around like 2,400 calories at this point, broken up all within macros. Do I hit it every single day? No, I definitely go and enjoy myself. And I still struggle mentally sometimes where when I get stressed, I don't eat at all. So it's definitely working back through that, but I'm always goaled at that certain point. And then I've been slowly increasing my carbohydrate and my protein intake throughout the whole reverse diet because my fats have been staying pretty consistent throughout.
Okay. That's awesome. I'm super proud of you. I know everyone at AIM is, and we just want to keep seeing you crush it and keep seeing you accomplish everything you're working towards.
Thank you.
So last kind of thing I want to touch on is like, if you could give any advice, anything that you've learned yourself to someone maybe wanting to start, but they're just, you know, they're just either scared or they're just like, thinking, what if I don't do great? Like, what kind of advice could you give someone that's like on the edge, ready to get going, but they're just like, they need that push?
I would tell them with absolutely everything that, I mean, when I'm talking to my friends and all, it's how long have you been thinking about this? No, just let them sit. Like all that time you could have been thinking about that, think of how far that you could have been now. Why are you still waiting?
That's good.
So I always advise people, especially when you're getting into this, do your research. I do recommend don't feel like me like find a coach and have someone help you, especially having that person who's not directly in your shoes, who doesn't have like the prep goggles on, who can reset you straight, be like, no, you're on track, or also be like, okay, we need to, put press on the gas a little bit, let's go. Um, Definitely find those types of people and never stop learning. If you guys ever find a coach who's like, oh, well, I know this, I'm not going to read anymore, and they're not constantly like trying to challenge themselves, that's not a good coach. This industry, we're constantly learning. There's constantly scientific studies that are coming out that should be applied to your coaching. So definitely just read all you can. Be very real with yourself. Like, are you ready to start prep or not? If you need to grow, grow. There's nothing wrong with that. And just making sure that you're taking that time for you and don't worry about what anyone else is thinking. People are always going to have something to say.
That's good.
End of day, they're not going to be on stage in a sparkly bikini. You are. So definitely just be in for you. But yeah, definitely do all your research and find people to help support you and find a coach that can help you out.
That's super good. That last thing you said really resonated, because that's something I was talking about with someone the other day. And I think I read it somewhere, but we were talking about this idea of like, when people are saying stuff about you, especially in a sport like you're doing, everyone's a critic. Like everyone's saying you're either doing super great or trying to, say you need to improve this or that. But like normally the people that are saying like bad stuff about you are below you. Like
Yeah,
you never find someone that's way above you talking down to you, because they just don't have the time. They're going up. And so that's something we need to keep in mind is people are, trash talking or hating on us. Like they're probably behind us, and we just got to keep our head down and keep grinding and do it for you and not for other people.
exactly. One of the companies that I interned with, Meta Cosmetics, I absolutely love them. One of their sayings was be unapologetically you. Like, do not apologize whatsoever for what you're doing, because you could be spending that time doing something else. And that's something that I'll definitely like always preach forward. Like, you're doing this unapologetically for you. No one needs an explanation.
That's so good. That's so good. And at the end of the day, like you got to be what motivates you. You can have all these other things that, are in the fire, but if it's not you driving you, you're not going to reach your full potential.
Exactly. That's something I tell my clients all the time. Like, you're doing this for you. Like, you're investing in me, you're investing in the gym, you're investing in yourself right now. Like, we're all here rooting for you. All you got to do is go for it. Like, why wouldn't you invest in yourself? You're going to have the best ROI ever. There's literally no bad ROI out of this. So might as well go for it.
No doubt. As we wrap this thing up, I want to talk really, really quickly and just let you kind of brush on it. But you've started a business, you have clients, and you're training. Like, talk to us a little bit about what you're doing and how that's kind of coming to play with everything else you have going on.
Yeah, definitely. So I am the head coach of G2 Fitness. I am G2. But we are just a tribe of people who really want to focus on unapologetically investing into ourselves and identifying the different objectives in our lives and how we are going to go step by step to achieve them, whether that is just within fitness, our nutritional health, or within our mindset. I take on clients, males, females. I do lifestyle as of right now, but I do competition NPC style posing as well. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, there is a link in my Instagram bio for an application, which an application always sounds so scary. It's literally just for me to get to like know you and see what's going on. I'm like, all right, do you have gluten intolerance? Do we have this? Let's find out. So it's just a get to know you thing. We can like set up a call to chat more, but let me tell you, like starting this makes me so incredibly happy. I'm always talking on my Instagram stories about how proud my clients are making me. Whether it is getting a message being like, hey, like my jeans are fitting better now and they haven't fit like this forever. Or I had someone yesterday that I was beaming about. She's a type 1 diabetic, and for the first time ever, she's had diabetes all her life. For the first time ever, she's like, Hannah, I had to lower my insulin because my body's waking up. I'm finally feeling hungry again. And that was just like a it's such an amazing thing. So definitely with like G2 Fitness, we focus on your relationship with food, how you're perceiving it, and how much are you eating, making sure that we're putting in food into your body that you're enjoying without sacrificing your entire social life, because at the end of the day, like, we still want to go out and have fun and say hi to our family and during the holidays. And mixing that with exercise to make sure that we're making sustainable bodies that are going to be good for you, that you're going to feel good and confident about, not just a body that will feel good for a quick crash diet later on.
That's so cool. I love that you're doing that. And I'm sure you enjoyed, like you said, just when you can feel the impact you're making on other lives, there's like nothing to compare that to. Like, that's invaluable. And it's so cool to use your passion to do it.
Exactly. Like when talking to friends, I'm like, how cool is it that every single one of us has the ability to change someone's life.
Mhm.
Like, you should never leave someone and have that being a negative experience, because every single experience you're going to learn something. So it's like we all have that ability. So the fact that I'm able to change someone's life where they can go out to a restaurant and feel confident about what they're ordering, or being able to see potatoes and peanut butter and be like, yes, these are items that I want on a day-to-day basis that I know my body needs. That's amazing for you. That makes me smile ear to ear.
And that's incredible. Well, we appreciate you, Hannah. We're so excited for you, and Ambition of Mine always has your back. We're in full support, and we can't wait to keep seeing you crush your goals and just being a monster.
Thank you so much. You guys are incredible.
Thank you so much for being on today. We appreciate it.